Welcome to the beginning of JoJo's. Literally. Today we're going to touch base with the Phantom Blood characters known as Jonathan Joestar, Will A. Zeppeli, and Dio Brando. We will talk about their skills, styles, and specials, HH attacks, HHAs, and GHAs. We will go in depth and tell you what each character can do. Our very first character is the very first Joestar, Jonathan Joestar. We shall explain his skills first. Sendo Harmon Overdrive is a low-hitting projectile that moves a little and gains speed from when you use your light hit, a few inches away from you with your middle, and about a good portion of the screen with heavy. If you EX the move with your style button, it goes full screen and it sends your opponents flying in the air and knocking them to the ground. But it isn't a hard knockdown, so opponents can't recover from it. This is great to use when as a juggler for combos or the use of punch stun. This can also throw opponents off since it's a low attack, and throwing a stream of high attacks and putting this into the mix will throw your opponent off. And it pushes opponents back a little too. Also, as a note, the rest of EX moves, when they are done on a character with a stone mask on them, it does 2 times the damage than on a regular person. I'll tell you who those are in a while. Overdrive Barrage is a multi-hitting move that punches and hits 7 times and also moves Jonathan depending on the version. The light version goes a small ways to the medium version going a little further out, and the heavy travels about the same as the medium, but a few steps goes a little bit farther. The EX version travels the same as the heavy version, but does more hits and deals more damage, plus sending your opponent flying in the air, giving juggle ability to combo off of. This is also not a hard knockdown, so they can recover from it if they land on the ground. This is good to use at the end of a combo string to send your opponents up and juggling them for more damage, unless you do the regular version and punch stun during the burst. The burst happens after some skills and hits your opponents is usually a signal that your opponent's in a big stun state, and it's a good time to punish to punch stun and do more damage, or for other things, and we'll touch base on that later. But some moves can be done with it and other ones can't. This move is also a clashing for other rapid punching moves. Scarlet Overdrive is pretty much a shuriken that is invincible until you leave the ground and sends your opponent flying, with the light doing its shortest Scarlet off the ground, sending your opponent flying a little. The medium picking up more air in time and sending your opponent higher, and the heavy version taking you to the skies. Your opponent goes but not too high from where you are. The EX version sends you flying and your opponent goes into the sky. Also, your invincibility is longer. Instead of before leaving the ground, you're invincible till you start flying. So until the second hit, you are invincible from any damage. You can also punch stun the first hit of the Scarlet to start a combo or save yourself instead of going through with it, because if blocked, you're taking a big punish from your opponent. Also, the move isn't a hard down. The opponent can recover if they touch the ground. The Sword of Luck and Pluck is a move that Jonathan jumps from the ground and swings the sword 3 times, and the last strike is a hard knockdown. This is an overhead attack. The sword, which has a good reach, but how far you jump is which determines by what you press. Light makes you jump a small distance, medium makes you jump a good inches away, and heavy makes you jump the farthest. EX you leap almost mid-screen, and if you punch stun you can grab a few hits before they drop on the ground. This is a great setup move, but if blocked, really punishable between swings. Even between turns. This covers Jonathan's skills. Let's talk about his styles and special moves. The style button isn't used for EX Harmon moves. It also gives Jonathan meter. Gradually, when holding the button down, but it leaves it open for an attack, so use it when your opponent's far away or when using to gain some meter. Zoom Punch is a crumple state move if it connects, but it has a lot of startup time with it. Light knocks opponents out the air, while medium is a straight punch that crumbles your opponent for a free combo. You can also punch stun to make your juggles or start a combo off, but Zoom Punch has to come out to do so. Tackle is a move that sends your opponent flying when it collides and can be punch stunned on hit, or as you are in a tackle before or after the lunge. You're wide open for punish. When tackled, you can cancel into a skill even on block. Also, it hits as a hard knockdown. This is my final Harmon as a comeback factor. All you need is 1 bar of meter to use it, But if you do with more meter, it will take all of it. Yes, all of it. So best to use it popping off at the beginning of a round, but you can pop it off at any time during the match. And when Jonathan falls to 0, he will get up, lose his meter gauge, and gain about 30% of his health back, but now all his skills are EX moves. But you can use the light, medium, and heavy to do so. This is a high risk, high reward because you lose your meter, period. Making and all moves are EX, making it unsafe if not used properly or sidestep. But you will do massive damage to your opponent if it all connects. Rumble mode is when you go into under 30% of your health and it'll automatically activate, gaining more attack power and gaining more meter faster, but you lose guard meter when faster than blocking. This is a common used mode for most characters, but there's other ones that others will have and we'll talk about later. Each character has a throw and it's activated by hitting any two attack buttons. Jonathan grabs his opponent and throws him over the shoulder, depending on the direction you hold to change where the character is thrown for their opponents. Each one is commonly used is used in the same way, but just has a different waveform. So I'm gonna show off the throws. There's not much really to talk about. Now it's time for the heat heart attacks and the great heart attack. Who will be the last one standing is a move where Jonathan spins and flies towards the opponents. If you try to sidestep it as he spins, he will follow you while he's in spin. Also, when this move hits Jonathan, it takes one flaming fist and explodes hammer inside you, sending you flying. This move does decent damage, and since the flame counts as a hitbox, it can catch the opponents that are being juggled. This move takes 1 bar. Use it on any Stone Mask characters and it'll do more damage from this move. And actually, to actually be corrected, what I mean by the flames is his hitbox, that means his entire body is his hitbox. The infamous Sunlight Yellow Overdrive that costs 2 bars has the quickest startup to the point to where it can be used as an anti-air. Have someone jumping on you while you have 2 bars and you'll make a blink twice. This move does a lot of damage, especially to Stone Mask characters. This can be used for almost at the end of any basic combo string, if the meter is there. But if you miss, you'll be taking a hard punish. This covers all of Jonathan Joestar. Now, let's move on to Willie A. Zeppelin. Hey, baby! Will A. Zeppelin, the man that helped Jonathan find his powers, is ready to go and show how he is. Let's talk about Zeppeli and see what he can do. Almond Cutter is a projectile move that Zeppeli takes a drink and shoots out disc-shaped wine from his mouth, with light doing only 1 and going a few inches away from him, medium going further with 2, heavy shooting 3 and going about half screen. Note that the time to actually do this also extends with each one of them. The EX goes full screen with 3 discs flying out, 1 going up while traveling and 2 going down. This move can also be performed in the air, still corresponding to the light, medium, heavy, and EX. This is a great way to keep people at distance, but jumping and doing this cutter is risky for opponents to know that they can be run over and punished since you take recovery time doing so. Be careful when jumping and shooting. Also, when jumping and shooting, you notice that you kind of get pushed back a little further for each one. Light get pushed back a little bit, medium a little bit further, heavy push back the furthest, and EX also takes a couple pushbacks, but it also has some recovery on it, so be careful about it. Also, the EX Common Cutter disc does a lot more damage and hits a lot more. Cinder Wave Kick is Zeppeli's version of Scarlet Overdrive. Main difference is he uses his knee kick. Also, the difference is unlike Scarlet being able to punt stun at the first hit, this one can't since you're airborne. The light version does a mini arc move at a small distance, medium does an arc is a little higher, while the heavy arc is the highest. EX is a multi-hitting one, pretty good for ending combos with it. Also, this kick is invincible from launch until the peak of the top of this jump, but just like Scarlet, if it's blocked, it leaves you open for punish. Other than that, the EX version Cinder Wave Kick isn't a hard knockdown, so your opponent can recover easily. Sunlight Yellow Overdrive, unlike Jonathan, is actually a command grab here, and sends your opponent flying. The light version takes the longest to come out, but counts as a throw, and when it hits, it does 4 hits. The medium comes out quicker and does 5 hits, and is not a throw, Heavy comes out faster than the light but slower than the medium and does 6 hits, still not counting as a throw. EX comes out faster and moves a little towards the opponent, and if it hits, it stuns the opponent, causing stun and crumple state, whereas Zeppeli can continue comboing, but if it is done again, he will drop straight to the ground. His move also is a hard knockdown in any form. The EX can be utilized to start or continue a combo from how fast it comes out and how it stuns and crumples the opponent. The light one helps out, but due to how much startup it takes, you have to be careful and not use it as an Achilles heel on opponents. Tornado Overdrive is a skill that sends Zeppeli flying into the air and does a spinning dive kick towards the opponent, with the light going the shortest distance, medium going the further out, and heavy going about mid-screen. But the EX goes about the same distance as the medium kick but adds an extra kick that hits low and swoops your opponent. That can also hit downed opponents. From a heavy knockdown, this move can also be done in the air, giving some mix-up potential when you jump. You can punch, stun, and kick when you land. So if you feel free to combo or feel unsafe, you can just punch, stun, and do as you feel. This move isn't a hard knockdown, so your opponent can recover from it. This covers all of Zeppeli's skills. Now it's time to move on to his styles. Hamon breathing, just like Jonathan, but different, is that Zeppeli takes a lot longer to recover. When you let go, it makes it easy to punish, so if you don't end early. Zoom Punch is back, but only straight as a straight. It comes out fast, but it takes time to recover. Kind of like the opposite of Jonathan, but you still can punch, stun, and hit if it's rawly thrown out. There was one part of the mechanics that I didn't cover because I wanted to talk about it when I got to Zeppeli. Jumping is mostly used as a way to get in on an opponent and to try to attack from above or to avoid, or neutral jump and move or do an attack. But certain characters, jump ins are really good and it helps to start a combo, but if someone can read it, a stylish side step can ruin that. Some characters have a super jump, for instance. See the jump as Zeppeli's forms of a super jump. By hitting down and up correspondingly the direction you want to go, it's fast and you can still move just like Tornado Overdrive and Hammer Cutter from that move. Spirit Hammer Overdrive is where Zeppeli jumps and holds style forward, and he grabs and glides on leaves with Hamon until you get near your opponent. This move can also be cancelled into Tornado Drive or Hammer Cutter. This move takes Hamon meter, so watch carefully how to use it, and it can also be used after the seated jump. Low contact Hamon is where Zeppeli lays in the air and the Hamon courses through his feet, and he can't be hit by certain moves that are thrown out, even ones that make guard break ineffective. And hard to avoid attacks are now avoidable. Once you touch the ground, that's it. Plus this move also takes Hamon meter use and can be used after the seated jump. His Rumble, just like Jonathan, gets an attack boost and a meter gain, but guards will break easier. Here's how Zepp's throws look like. Now let's talk about his HH and This is Sendo. It's a low hitting level 1 that sweeps the opponent and knocks them on the floor for Zepp to punch them in the chest. This is a great super, just don't use it to the point where you're going to use it as a last resort. Most of the time this move will end combos and adds extra damage. Hamon of the Sun, Sunlight Yellow Overdrive is his level 2 that has some startup to it, while he tries to poke you with his pinky. Some combos make it hard to hit, but hitting this move does decent damage and sends your opponent flying. Now that we have covered Will A. Zeppeli, let's cover the villain of the series, Dio Brando. The main villain of Phantom Blood and the only person with vampirism style, Dio Brando. Let me explain what makes him so evil. Vaporing Freeze is Dio's way of catching opponents off guard and freezing them for a period of time, opening up from a combo or throwing them off. But note that if you freeze them twice, they will fall off the move to a hard knockdown. Light Freeze is the middle of the opponent and the medium freeze is low. Be warned, the move takes time to come out, but doing so during a hard knockdown gives your opponent a high-low game and getting your opponent thinking. But if they guess correctly, you can safe jump away, and we will cover that later. There is a heavy freeze, but it's not the same way. Frozen in your tracks is a counter version of the move, as long as the move is not HH or GH, or projectile. Dio will freeze them where they are, even if they're in the air, and you can combo or you can set up when they fall down to the ground, since it is a hard knockdown. Dio is the first record character with different inputs for each one of the entries. Things are called Kua, 5 or 6 broken ribs, and ending with either think you can beat Dio, the great Dio, and Rui. All of them act the same, with light being the fastest recovery, medium being mild recovery, and heavy doing the most recovery of all. During everyone except 5 or 6 broken ribs, you can do Dio's super jump, you worthless monkey, to jump out of the situation. If you feel a strong chance of a punish happening, you can also use this to continue a combo after you think you can beat the great Dio. This is what you do mostly, but remember, they were frozen before starting the combo. It would drop out if you think you can beat the great Dio. Also, when ending records, you can use a launcher. You can use to beat the launch. Do you think you can beat the great Dio, or ground them with Rui? The launcher is usually the best choice, but the grounded one is used for opponents that are still blocking low, and because it's an overhead, if you hit them, if you punch stun, it is a ground bounce, and your opponent can still get hurt while falling to the ground and laying there. There's also another method that you can use, and it is hitting the style button. It can only be hit the Rekkas, and letting them drop isn't a hard knockdown, so they can recover unless it's Riri. Your weakling is done at the end of you think you can beat the great Dio or Uri. After hitting the opponent, just press the style button and Dio will grab them and suck the life out of them, giving him back some meter. The other version, called Muda Muda Muda, he does the same thing, but instead of life sucking your life, he sucks your meter. This is what makes Dio a game changer. If he gets you, you can kiss your life or meter goodbye. Also, to get more of these, smash the attack button as much as you can to get more life or meter. I'll Suck You Dry is this command grab style of also sucking blood from your opponent. This can be done at the end of a combo string, but if you do any Rekkas, it would just do you weakling. This one also requires mashing buttons to do more damage. All grabs that suck meter are not hard knockdowns, so your opponents can recover from them. Just a note. Now let's talk about his style. Punching right through you is a 2-hitting attack that's an overhead on the second hit. If your opponent blocks low, this way is to break your opponent from blocking and setting them up with a freeze or another move. As we talked earlier, You Worthless Primate is pretty much Dio's way to safety, either during a block Rekka move other than 5 or 6 broken ribs that can help Dio recover from the bad situations. This can be controlled by going straight up, diagonal, left or right, or a way to continue a combo. And how he continues is because he has an aerial rave when he does his jump, or a regular jump. Aerial chain beat is when you hit light, medium, and heavy attacks in the air, but instead of one hit, you can actually hit them like a combo. Think of it as Marvel vs. Capcom. One where you can basically combo was light, medium, heavy, launcher, light, medium, heavy, then super or special move, or a knockdown. But here, Dio's heavy is an auto hard knockdown, so if you want to attempt more of a combo, only hit light and medium, and let Dio drop and try to catch them for an extension of a jump. Just like the other two characters, Dio goes into roam mode when he's under 30%. Now let's move to HH and GH attacks. Space Ripper Sting Eyes is a quick full screen level 1 beam projectile that can punish from full screen. It comes out very quick and does a lot of damage. The other thing is that when it's done, Dio bends way back and his recovery is long, but that bending back can avoid some moves that would hit him. A Cruel Death of Wade Shoot is Dio's level 2, where he freezes you and beats your frozen body to the sky, and then breaks it with his 2 hands. How are you instantly dead? I will never know, but the move is very damaging, but kind of slow. Dio's entire body is a hitbox. For that move, one touch and your fate is sealed. If you notice, when Dio takes damage, there is gray health that is recoverable health that you can get back over time, but if you take damage again, you will lose that gray health and not gain it back. But you can also gain health back still by using Dio's Suck You Dry mode or You Weakling. That was all the Phantom Blood characters. Stay tuned for the next time I will move on to Battle Tendency. I'm JFakeGamers1, signing out. Like I'm burning slow, 熱く like I'm burning slow 血脈に刻まれた